Hello, everyone. We're waiting for a few attendees to join. I see the numbers come up. Fantastic. We've got 7, 8, coming up 11, 13. Thank you, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We are here now, getting ready to prepare and start our 4th webinar from Mise. We're going to wait a little bit longer because we had a total of about 95 attendees sign up. We are currently now getting everybody logged on. We are now at 29. So 30, a little bit more to go. Hope everybody is doing okay. Not sure where everybody is dialing in from, but Macau, we've got a beautiful, gorgeous, sunny afternoon. So hopefully it is great weather for where you guys are. Now, let's see. We'll wait a little bit longer. Still have a couple of people getting ready to join us. We've got 32 now. Thank you, everybody, for getting online and on time. I appreciate it. All right. We'll wait a little bit more. I think we have a little bit, probably just a minute or two. And if you guys want to take a look, we've got some information already in the chat. So feel free, please put in, hello, Bruno. We miss you here. Okay. Okay, we'll give it a little bit more, a few more minutes. We've got quite a bit of everybody on. We'll get to probably a minute more longer, 1 or 2 minutes. Get everybody dialed in. I think we could have had a little. Oh, we've already put the channel for YouTube for Mise, so you can click on it in our chat. So if you want to, on your right-hand side, you should be able to see the YouTube channel. So you can click on there. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Okay. Let's see how we're doing here. 36, we got a few people go. All right, let's get started, and hopefully we'll get a little bit of more latecomers joining us. So give me 1 second here, and I will get you this. Sorry. 1 second. I apologize. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Mise's 4th webinar today. Welcome to Steve Bruce's first bite-sized LinkedIn services webinar hosted by Mise. So for those who are joining Mise webinars for the first time, let me give you a little bit of background on Mise. Mise, which stands for Macau Meetings, Incentives, and Special Events, is a non-profit organization with the main mission of supporting MICE professionals. Mise's main objectives are to promote Macau as a destination and to generate business opportunities to our members. So in addition to providing independent reports about our industry to our members, we also create educational programs like these webinars that we're doing here now for our industry and members. Now, our members will range from large corporations to SMEs, freelancers, and new graduates. So please visit our website, or you can scan. It's currently on your screen, should be. There we go. and visit us to see how you can join us and becoming a member of Mise today. A shout out and a special thanks to Martin Donovan from Mix Magazine for all the support we've had to Mise. So following below, I don't think you guys can click on it, but you guys can definitely see. And it'll be shared in the chat, so you can actually click on it for all our LinkedIn, our YouTube, and our Facebook links. I actually have Anna here with me, and she's our backbones right now. So as we go through this, she's helping me maneuver through all of our webinars here. All right, now the big reveal. So now we're very happy to have our independent LinkedIn trainer, Steve Bruce from Hong Kong, to run our webinar today. So please remember to type in any of your questions in the Q&A section, which should be at the bottom. If you see a little Q&A area, please type in any questions so that Steve or myself are happy to answer some of the questions to you. So now, Steve, over to you.
Okay, so welcome along, everybody. Thanks for investing your time today to join us for this bite-sized LinkedIn webinar. This is webinar number 4 in the Mise series of event webinars for you guys. Can you all see in the chat, we put a bunch of stuff in there so that you can follow our social media channels for Mise and for myself. Can somebody type in the chat there, yes, so that I know that that you're we can see, everyone can see it. Okay, good. So I can see a few people saying hello. So hello to Bruno, who's all the way in Portugal. That's lovely. So welcome along. Thanks for making time to join us today. So right, we are going to jump straight in to the presentation today. So first of all, a little bit about me. I have over 30 years experience, international advertising, sales and marketing experience. I've worked for some of the world's most famous advertising agencies in the world. I've lived in Hong Kong for over 20 years myself now. I've had my own company for over 19 years. And fun fact, I used to work for a company called the CIA in London. Not the actual CIA, or is it? Who knows? Anyway, I've also trained over 1,000 people how to use LinkedIn so far. So hopefully that qualifies me to talk to you today. So let's talk about LinkedIn users. Now, there are currently 690 million users, fast approaching 700 million users globally on LinkedIn. They're in over 200 countries, and the site is available in 24 different languages. Now, in Asia, there are 200 million users. In Macau, there are 100,000 users. Hong Kong, there are 2 million users. So basically in Asia, we've got about 30% of the total users in the whole world, and about 40% of the professional, manager, and executive population, i.e. your target clients. In Hong Kong, we represent, LinkedIn users represent half of the professional, manager, and executive population. So basically, if you're looking to target B2B buyers, like marketing directors or CEOs of companies and budget holders and decision makers, then LinkedIn is certainly the right place to do it. Now, LinkedIn was started on May the 5th, 2003, which just happens to be my birthday, same birthday every year. That's a very nice present that I got. And I've been using LinkedIn indeed since it started 17 years ago. Before that, I used to use another software called Plaxo. I don't know if any of you guys can remember that one, but I've always been a big fan that your network is your net worth, and it's good to be connected to lots of people and to be the kind of person who can get things done. Now, on LinkedIn, only 15% of people have more than 1,000 connections. The average amount of connections is about 400. But generally, if you want to be taken seriously in business, you're looking for that magic 500 plus number that you see on people's connections. The idea being is it's not a popularity contest, but we do want to have a decent sized network, and again, be the kind of person who connects people and can be helpful. Now, according to LinkedIn, 3 new users are joining every second. And you may know that LinkedIn was bought in 2016 by Microsoft for $26 billion. So that's worked out rather well for them as well. And they continue to make more and more money. We're supposed to be seeing more and more integration of LinkedIn into Microsoft Office tools. That's been very slow to happen. The only one we've really seen so far is in in Outlook.com, where you can actually connect your Outlook.com account to LinkedIn, and then you can get some basic data. But that will be coming to Microsoft Outlook that we're using for our email in the future. So for LinkedIn user, the average user on LinkedIn is 46 years old and earns just short of 60,000 Hong Kong dollars every month. So basically, they're slightly male biased, 56% male, 44% female. There's about the same demographic in Macau when I had a look, and it's made up of quite an interesting demographic. First of all, about a quarter of the users are Gen Zs, a third are pure Gen Ys, 34% is a mix of Gen Y and Gen X. These are the ones that we're going to be largely interested in because they tend to be the ones who are the decision makers, marketing directors, and CEOs and MDs of companies. And about 7% are Gen X or baby boomers. Now, LinkedIn's mission statement is simple: to connect the world's professionals and to make them more productive and successful. So what that means is that they're on our side, which is really good start, right? Now, some key stats about LinkedIn. A third of the users are professional managers and executives. So that's our target audience for most of the things that we're doing. 95% of all Fortune 500 companies are on LinkedIn. 3/4 of those are using social media in the decision-making process. It's used by 97% of business marketers. Almost 80% say that they find it highly effective. But the thing is that these guys are 90% on their way to making a buying decision before they contact you. So if you're not influencing this valuable group at an earlier stage, then you could well be missing out on opportunities compared to other companies that may be taking advantage of social selling and LinkedIn to promote themselves to their target customer. Over 90% of LinkedIn users have said that they're happy to speak to a supplier who's a known industry thought leader. So it's never been more important than now to make sure that you're visible to your market. Now, LinkedIn is in China as well. They have 50 million users there. 90% of those are registering on the Chinese language site. Now, LinkedIn was smarter than Google and went into China, accepts the things that go along with that. We're interested in those LinkedIn users in China because they tend to have lived overseas. They may have studied and worked in the US. And now they're returning to China to take up senior management positions. So these are the kind of, they're a good target for us, for people for international business. LinkedIn also has a competitor in China called Mise. It's a China language site. Also has 50 million users, worth knowing about. And so we keep an eye on those guys to see how they're getting along there as well. So if you also, basically, if you want to talk to decision makers in China, then do consider Mise as well. Now, LinkedIn continues to grow. Their target is 3 billion users and world domination, according to Satya Nadella, who's the CEO of Microsoft, who own LinkedIn. Now, there are top 3 reasons that we want to be on LinkedIn. The first one is to present ourselves powerfully to the market and to our target customer as an expert, a key person of influence, and an industry influencer. The second one, unsurprisingly, is to find a job. LinkedIn is obviously a really good place to look for a job. And what I find with my clients that I do one-on-one coaching with is that when they work with me, a happy accident will be that they will get approaches. So if you're busy and active on the site, you are going to attract more opportunities than if you're not active on the site. So you definitely will. It's good for your career. And of course, the most important one is to find business, particularly if we're doing events and trying to attract new clients. Now, let's talk a bit about why you need LinkedIn. Well, the first reason, 90% of clients never answer cold calls. If you're someone who's doing outbound sales, or maybe you're a business development person for your event company, then you'll be painfully aware of this fact. I know sometimes I do sales projects, and what I find is that I get very excited if the client actually calls me back. They very rarely do. Now, the thing is, almost 50% of clients are using their network to find suppliers. And if you think about how you do that yourself at the moment, like let's say you need a photographer for an event, you will ask your friends, do you know a good photographer? Or you'll use your network to source a photographer. Now, the thing is, your clients are also researching you on LinkedIn. Almost half of them say that they will research suppliers on LinkedIn. 50% say that they will avoid doing business with people who have a weak profile on LinkedIn. So these days, it's not enough to just have a profile. You must have a strong profile. Otherwise, you could well be missing out on valuable business opportunities. And we really can't afford to do that in this difficult market. Now, almost 3/4 of decision makers on LinkedIn say that they prefer a warm introduction. And if you think about it yourself, of course, let's go back to my photographer analogy. If you wanted to, looking for a photographer, if you get somebody who's recommended, that's already known, liked and trusted by someone you know, it's much more likely that you're going to end up doing business with that person and that you won't mind being introduced to them. Of course, if you get introduced by a warm introduction, that close ratio is 5 times higher than if you were doing it by a cold outreach. So it really makes sense to be focusing on making sure that you're presenting yourself powerfully on the platform. Now, LinkedIn really generates B2B leads. Over 60% of people from a demand wave survey said that they'd source business from LinkedIn. 37, about 40% get from Facebook. 34% from Twitter, surprisingly good. Twitter is not that popular in Asia, but it's very popular in the rest of the world. And again, you should really be on Twitter. You can actually connect your Twitter account to your LinkedIn account, and you can actually post to both channels at once. So that can actually work out really well for you. Interesting to know, only 17% of B2B leads come from YouTube. And indeed, I've been having an experience with that myself recently. I've been running a lot more webinars, and they're being recorded and put on YouTube. And really, I'm sure as you guys already know, YouTube is hard. You have to do a lot of work for very little ROI. And certainly for B2B, it doesn't really seem to merit the time investment required, especially when you can focus more on LinkedIn. Unsurprisingly, only 5% of B2B leads are coming from Instagram, 2% from Pinterest, and only 1% from Snapchat. So I suggest that if you're spending time on Instagram and you're trying to target B2B clients, that you refocus that energy, and again on YouTube, and refocus that fish where the fish are. 62% of B2B leads are coming from LinkedIn. And indeed, 80% of all B2B leads come from LinkedIn. So it really is the place to reach and target and influence your target customer. So let's talk a bit about why you need LinkedIn. Well, the first thing is, unfortunately for you, you are whoever Google says you are. Your client will almost certainly type your name into Google before they do business with you and check you out. And it's very important that you own page 1 of Google. So that means that everything that's there is what you've put there. You want to make sure that you're controlling the narrative. Now, if you don't do that, Google will do it for you, and you may not like what happens. I'll give you an example. I'm currently targeting a client. He's a lawyer in Australia, and he does digital and IP law. Now, he was invited to speak at a conference in Australia. Now, the government, specifically the Secret Service in Australia, didn't like some of the topics being covered, and they basically tried to put a gagging order on some of the speakers, asking them to change their presentations, and to basically some people not to speak at all. Now, this ended up blowing up in the Australian media. And unfortunately, when you type this guy's name in, which is quite an individual name, all that comes up is all this stuff about the Secret Service and about this government thing. And it's so basically, Google is managing his personal brand for him, which may not be the personal brand that he wants to be putting out there in the market. So if you don't take charge of what's written online about you, then I say the internet will do it for you. Now, if you type your name into Google or any search engine, what you'll see is that your LinkedIn profile comes up as the #1 hit. Even if you have a really super common local name, then you'll still find that you're one of the top 26 profiles there. So basically, that's the first thing that your client is going to look at before they do business with you. Remember, people buy from people. So they're going to check you out, and they're going to see what you've done and what you are doing. And if you don't tell them, then they simply won't know. And indeed, if you don't have a strong profile, and it's not just about LinkedIn, this is about all of your social media channels, then your client may not find you as credible as somebody else who puts the extra effort in to make sure that they're very visible. So again, Another reason why we should use LinkedIn. Almost 80% of users on LinkedIn are on the channel at least once a week. If you're like me, I live on LinkedIn. I'm there all day, every day, and posting and being active on the site. So basically, this is if you want to influence those decision makers, then LinkedIn is the right place to do it. Now, but the other reasons that you want to look for LinkedIn is it's a very good way to show the market that you're professional and that you are successful. It's also a good way to show younger clients that you get technology. If you're a bit older, bear in mind that the oldest millennial is now in their early 40s. That means that they're getting the management job, the decision-making level marketing director or MD job that you want to influence. So if you're a bit older, it's very important that you show those people who get technology and grew up with technology that you're up to date with the tech. Because if you're not up to date with the tech, then you're simply an irrelevant dinosaur. And we know what happened to dinosaurs. So let's not be a dinosaur. Now, of course, it's a great way to network and identify target clients and to show people that you're well connected in the market, which in turn will lead to getting new business for you. So an overview of LinkedIn, what that all adds up to is Facebook for people with a job. Now, let's talk a bit about the main content of today's webinar, All-Star Profiles. The first thing, an All-Star Profile is 100% or fully completed profile. And people who've got an All-Star Profile on LinkedIn source 40 times more opportunities than those without. So if you don't have an All-Star Profile, or if before today you didn't even know what an All-Star Profile is, then you'll almost certainly have already missed out on a job or a piece of business. Now, the thing is that only 51% of users on LinkedIn have an all-star or 100% complete profile. Now, I don't know about you, but I like those odds. If only half of the users have an all-star profile and those who've got an all-star profile are getting 40 times more opportunities, then you really can put yourself in a great advantage position by making sure that you at least have an all-star profile. If you don't have an all-star profile, basically you're invisible. You're invisible to recruiters. You're invisible to hiring managers. You're invisible to your clients. When they search for you, simply won't show up in their search. So that means that your competition and not you is getting that work. And we can't really afford to do that, especially these days. Now, there are 5 levels of status on the way to All-Star Profile. The first one is beginner. And the second one is intermediate. Again, worth here showing that, making sure that you've got lots of skills. We're going to talk about that in a bit more in a minute. And then the next one is advanced. The fourth one is expert. And the final one is all-star. So let's cover the 7 steps that you need to take in order to achieve all-star status on LinkedIn. The first one is make sure that you have your location put into LinkedIn. So that you can show up in searches for that country and your industry as well. You need to have your current job and you need to have at least 2 past jobs. You need to put your education in. This is vital. And also you need to have 3 skills. Now you can have up to 50 skills on LinkedIn. So basically, I highly recommend that you complete the skills section. Skills are basically SEO gold for search engine optimization. If you want to show up in searches on Google and on LinkedIn, then having your skills section completed is absolutely vital to your success. When recruiters, for example, are using LinkedIn, they will basically use Boolean search and a very advanced search techniques to find you. So if you don't have your skills section fully completed, then you're definitely at a disadvantage. Is also you need to make sure, the next thing is that you need to make sure that you have a headshot. Now, headshots are a bit of a pet topic of mine. I've written a couple of articles about how to do a good headshot, which you can find on my LinkedIn profile in my article section. I really think that you should invest the money to pay a professional to do your headshot. Basically, you want to be the kind of person that needs a headshot. Simply because you're expecting to be interviewed for podcasts, you're expecting to be interviewed for a magazine article, you're expecting to be invited to speak at an industry event or conference. And basically, once you start acting like that kind of person, you will start attracting those kind of opportunities into your life. And also, yeah, my mum always used to say, you don't get a second chance at making a good first impression. People make their mind up about you within zero point 0.6 of a second of meeting you. Within 7 seconds, they made up their mind about you, and what they think about you is almost impossible to change. So having a professional headshot is part of that process, because your client's going to look at your LinkedIn profile. It's one of the first things they'll check out when they're checking out to evaluate you versus your competitor. And it's these tiny little things that are going to make you look professional. And as an event professional, it's really important that you're presenting yourself in the best possible way. Now, you need to also have at least 50 connections. As I mentioned before, we're looking for a network of over 500, but this is not vital. You can have up to 30,000 connections on LinkedIn, but it isn't a race to 30,000. It's better to have 100 powerful connections than it is to have 30,000 connections that are not, you don't even know, and that are no use to you. Your goal with LinkedIn is to build a powerful network of decision-making level, budget-holding target clients who can basically give you business and help you, or other people in your industry that can refer business to you or that are willing to refer business to you. So it's about quality over quantity. Sometimes you'll find on LinkedIn, some people in their profile, like you'll see the word lion in capital letters in their profile. These guys are normally like insurance agents or real estate professionals or financial advisors or MLM type people. And they're basically going for volume. They believe that the more people they're connected to, the better it works for them. I don't support this at all. I really think that it's important that you build a quality network of people that can help you. And so it's good to be like maybe even a bit fussy about this. So once you do all of those things, you've got an all-star profile and you're ready to basically take advantage of that. So that's what we got for today. To sum up, an all-star profile is 100% or fully completed profile. There are 5 stages. The first one is beginner. The second one is intermediate. The third one is advanced. The fourth one is expert. The fifth one is all-star. Those who've got an all-star profile are sourcing 40 times more opportunities than those who are not. So it's absolutely essential. You're definitely missing out if you don't have an all-star profile at the moment. And if you're not an all-star, then you're basically the invisible man or the invisible woman. So basically, that's the main point of our presentation today. This webinar is part of my bite-sized LinkedIn series. You've actually got 10 webinars in this series of different lengths depending on the topic. So the first one, the one we covered today, is the 7 steps you need to take to have an all-star profile. Webinar number 2 is about the mobile app. We cover a lot of tips and tricks how to use the mobile app. Workshop number 3 is about headshots. Remember, I told you, very passionate about headshots and why they matter. Number 4 is about how to post effectively to maximize likes, comments, and shares. Number 5 is about how to source powerful recommendations. There's nothing better than a happy customer. And we talk about how to get a really good recommendation from happy clients and from past bosses on LinkedIn. The 6th one is about how to spy on your competition. If you need to do research on your competitors, we teach you how to do that. Number 7 is about the messaging app on LinkedIn, which is actually a really powerful tool for getting conversations moving with clients, and we talk about that. Workshop number 8 is about how to grow your network. Number 9 is about how to get your clients to connect with you and how to target and find them. And number 10 is finally about how to generate leads using LinkedIn. So that's my bite-sized LinkedIn series. Now, all of those are part of a bigger LinkedIn for Business series, which are 2-hour workshops. We cover the first one is how to upgrade your profile and present yourself powerfully on the platform. My second workshop is about personal branding. The third one about thought leadership. Fourth one about social selling. Fifth one about how to find a job using LinkedIn. My in-house workshop, which is for corporate clients, which is LinkedIn for Business teams. Workshop about employer branding. And I have a half-day workshop as well. So if you're interested in having me run any of those for your organization, then also please let me know. Now, if you'd like to learn more, I'm actually running the workshop number 8 tomorrow. And you can join that. That's a free webinar again in Hong Kong. We're going to be running that at 11:30 in the morning. I put the link in the comment section, so you can basically sign up there. So now it's question time. So let's have a look and see what's going to happen. Wow, my mouse has gone funny. Could you believe it? Right, so let's go into the questions. So if you have a question, then please type it here in the chat now, or in the Q&A. So I've got two questions in the Q&A, so we're going to go to those first. The first one is from Miguel Neves. Do you see a trend for younger generations to become LinkedIn all-star users? Basically, everyone's getting on LinkedIn. More and more people are using LinkedIn. As I showed you in the graph earlier, it's really gone up over the past couple of years, but more and more people are starting to see the value of it. One trend actually that I read about yesterday is actually for dating on LinkedIn, which is a bit funny. I generally would avoid that, but it seems to be that millennials and Gen Zs are actually finding that they prefer to use LinkedIn to find dates, because they say the people are real and it's not like some of the dating apps where there are lots of fake profiles and people scamming them. So actually everybody is getting onto LinkedIn. People are starting to realize that it's an essential part of their business. So I've got one from an anonymous attendee. What is an ideal summary for a profile? Basically, we cover this topic in more detail in another webinar, in one of my workshops. Basically, what you need to focus on is what problem do you solve and for whom. You're looking for a keyword-rich summary in your about section that basically explains who are you and what do you do and what problem do you solve and for whom. So that's basically the answer to that question. Another question from another autonomous attendee: how to highlight your skills to potential clients. Again, what we do is in the about section and in our experience section, we will talk about our company and we'll talk about what we've achieved. And again, we can also use the featured section in LinkedIn to highlight basically what you're up to recently, and posting things there. So that's what we can do there. From Jen Fukuyama: if you're using more than one language, do you need to do all 7 steps in all languages to be an all-star? Yes. You'll need to basically make sure that both the profiles are filled in. As you'll know, I'm guessing you sound like you're Japanese. So what that means is that if you're doing a profile in Japanese, you'll need to basically translate it by yourself and copy everything into that profile. Martin Donovan is asking, Hootsuite was once a good way of combining tweets and LinkedIn posts, but something changed and it seems no longer to connected with LinkedIn. Or have I missed something? So far as I know, you can still post using Hootsuite. Hootsuite is basically a social media aggregator. So what it means is that you can post to multiple channels at once and you can plan your post to go out at different times. I actually use one called Buffer, which I prefer, which is it's much easier to use and also much cheaper. But I've actually changed my posting strategy. Recently, I've been learning a lot more about the LinkedIn algorithm, and I'm going to basically in the bite-sized webinar workshop about how to post properly. We talk about the LinkedIn algorithm and how to get the most out of it. Previously, I used to post every day or whenever I found something that I thought would be interesting for my target audience. But what I found is that if you post more than 4 times a week, you actually get penalized by the LinkedIn algorithm and it'll actually mark down your posts. So again, we cover that in more detail. So actually what I found is by posting less, but posting more deep content, I'm actually getting much more views and much more engagement than I was before, which works perfectly because it means I don't have to do so much work and I'm actually getting deeper engagement with the people that matter. So to answer your question, I'm not an expert in Hootsuite, but I think maybe you need to try reconnecting your account. As far as I know, you can still post there. Cheryl is asking, I'm interested how to use LinkedIn to generate leads for business. Is LinkedIn lead generation and advertising useful? Usually each company's official LinkedIn accounts are managed by the HR department. Do you think it's better for it to be managed by marketing? This is quite a deep question. There's two parts to it. The first of all, is LinkedIn lead generation and advertising useful? Lead generation, if you're doing outbound sales, then LinkedIn is essential for identifying and targeting your customers and finding the right people to talk to, and then basically then connecting with them. If you're doing marketing, it's about having your clients in a nurture sequence. If you're working for a bigger company and you're promoting your LinkedIn company page, then that is something that definitely should be managed with. Well, you need to share it with HR. HR should be making you an admin so that you can post to it as well, because you both have different agendas. Marketing is trying to present the company powerfully as an industry expert and as the go-to person for your events, whereas HR is doing employer branding, where they're trying to present the company as an attractive place to work. So you have different agendas, but both can use the company page and can use it well. So far as advertising goes, LinkedIn advertising is expensive. If you've got about $10,000 a month to spend on pay-per-click advertising, then you can enjoy great success with LinkedIn. If you don't, then it may not work so well for you, and that would be part of a bigger media mix. I would suggest that you spend your money on Google ads, Facebook ads, and something a bit more that will give you a bit more ROI. Like LinkedIn advertising works much better for big companies rather than for smaller ones. So yeah, again, I hope that answers your question. Now another anonymous attendee. If you're from another country, but you're targeting people in Hong Kong, is it better to put your location, or is it better to put your target location? Right, so this is an interesting question. It depends where you're hunting. Say, for example, you want to move to New York and you want to show up in job searches for New York. If you change your location to New York, when recruiters are looking for you, looking for someone in New York, they will, and you put your location as New York, then they will basically see that you'll show up in those searches. So if you were, say, hunting for business in New York, if you put your location as New York, then you'll show up in searches for there. But however, if you're actually targeting people, like say in Hong Kong, you would be better off to go after them one by one. A lot of people try to do the shortcut. Everybody wants to game the system these days and like do shortcuts without doing the hard work. Some people are using data scraping tools to basically fire hundreds of emails at target clients every day. I work with a lot of senior executives in big companies and business owners. And a lot of those senior executives say to me that they really hate their inbox. They just don't look at it. They said, people are just trying to sell stuff to me. It's really annoying and I'm not interested. So you need to do this one by one. So actually saying that if you're targeting, say, for example, if you're targeting customers in Hong Kong, I don't think it's necessary to say that you are based in Hong Kong. You'll show up in searches for Hong Kong, but your client may not be searching for you. You'll be searching for them. So you have to decide by yourself and see which works. So then another one, an anonymous question. Most people who've asked of LinkedIn premium package, how does it benefit business owners? Do you have a bite-sized session sharing on how to optimize the LinkedIn premium package? Well, basically, I don't use the LinkedIn paid services. I don't hate them, but what I do think is that you should basically become an expert at using the free services on LinkedIn first, and then see if the paid services make sense for you. Now, they have different ones. If you're doing outbound sales, then I think that Sales Navigator is a great tool. But again, it's very important that you know how to use the free services first. So LinkedIn has a thing called the 4 pillars of success, which you need to do in the right order in order to achieve success on LinkedIn. The first one is what we talked about today, is have an all-star or fully completed profile. The second one is know how to use LinkedIn to identify and target budget holding, decision-making level clients at your target customers. The third one is to be active on the site. So what that means is like, comment, and share other people's posts, and also post interesting, relevant content on a regular basis. And only when you do those three things will you achieve the fourth pillar of success, which is build strong relationships with your client. So basically, a lot of people want to go straight to the premium package thinking that the phone's going to start ringing. The main benefit of the premium package is that you can actually see who's looked at your profile. So if that's important for you to know, then the premium package can make sense. If you're a job seeker, you can just use the Job Seeker Plus package, which is the cheapest one. And actually, for most people, that's good enough if you just want to see who looked at your profile. So I would say I just finished doing another trial of the paid services just to see if it was going to make any difference. And finally, I just found that I don't need it. LinkedIn hasn't published for many years now, so it's about 2016, how many people are actually using the paid services on LinkedIn. It used to be 16%. I've done some calculations of my own, and they suggest that it's much lower than that. So I'm not even sure how many people are using them. In summary, I would say take a look, try a month free trial and see if it works for you. But I would encourage you first to make sure that you're an expert at using the free services so that when you do switch over to the paid one, you can get the maximum possible value from that. So the next question, again, from an anonymous one, in your opinion, is it worthy to upgrade to LinkedIn Premium? Again, I think we've just answered that question there. It depends. Make sure that you know how to use the free services first before you waste your money. I mean, if you're a company, you can spend many thousands of dollars upgrading your team to use the premium account. I've seen data that says up to 80% of people who've got the paid account when they're not paying for it themselves don't use the services, and so you could be wasting your money completely. You could waste thousands of dollars on that. So Bruno saying, can you tell us more about your bite-sized webinars? So basically, yeah, so the bite-sized webinars are similar to length to today. So they're between half an hour and 45 minutes, depending on the topic. I already covered those ones earlier. We can just jump back to the bite-sized webinars. So they cover all these different various aspects of how to use LinkedIn. Now, these are you won't become an expert on LinkedIn after attending these. These are designed to support you as you're going and getting better at LinkedIn. The best way is to join my the longer workshops that I run, which are 2-hour workshops, which do deep dives into those topics. So let's have a look if there's any other questions. Right. Now, somebody is saying, from Ana Rita Alves, you mentioned how having more than 500 connections is key, but isn't that a bit like Facebook when we called everyone friends and it was trendy to have many of them? No, completely not. As I mentioned, it's very important. LinkedIn is about quality, not quantity. What you're looking to do is to cultivate a network of influential, budget-holding, decision-making level clients. This is the really important thing. It's not, but also you want to be connected to everybody in your industry. Again, for you guys as event pros, maybe you don't want to be connected. You have to be more selective about who you connect to. But and again, be careful who you let in. I will look very carefully at people who want to connect with me. My network's about 6,000, which is quite big, but I'm still fussy about who I let in. I've got like about 135 people who want to connect with me, but I will go through and I will look at them and see, are they the right profile of person that I want in my network? Because I have a very powerful network at this stage, having been in Asia for so long. I don't want to just give access to that to anyone who wants, because once they're in my network, they can then go through and they can see and they can connect with my connections as well. So I want to make sure that the right kind of people are coming in. Generally, I will avoid insurance agents, real estate professionals, and financial advisors, MLM type guys, these kind of people, unless they are a client of mine. One of the benefits of working with me is that then they will get access to my network. So it's not about having lots of friends. It's not a popularity contest. It's about having a powerful network, and it's a useful network. Now, having said that, don't forget that all of your friends have a job. Now, at the moment, your friends don't know what you do. They know you work in events, but they don't really have any clue what that means. Now, when you create a powerful LinkedIn profile, what you can actually do, they will, when once you've summarized that properly, what you'll see is that they now know what problem you solve and for whom. So what that means is that your friends can now become your unpaid, no commission required sales force, and they will recommend you to their friends and to their customers. So you can actually get business from your friends. So on the one hand, we're not trying to do a popularity contest, but on the other hand, don't forget that your friends want to help you, and that sometimes they can refer you business. I've been surprised at how much business I've got from people that I know. So some other questions coming up here. Most people who've asked me to connect with me on LinkedIn are complete strangers. Should I be guarded about accepting their connection requests? Absolutely. There are something like 6% of fake profiles on LinkedIn. In fact, actually, one of my clients just sent me a message today saying, oh, this guy wants to connect with me. He looks like a fake profile. I had one yesterday. You need to be careful. I've got clients that have been hacked on LinkedIn and have a really bad problems by accepting connection requests. I've got a friend who works at The Economist. He's always getting these fake profiles trying to connect with him. And basically, that can be a security risk for big companies. Generally, my strategy is if I don't know that person, then I'll be reluctant to connect with them unless they send me a personal note. If you're connecting with somebody, you should always send a note saying who you are and why you want to connect with them. So for you guys, if you want to connect with me after this webinar, please make sure you put a note in your connection request. I generally don't accept connection requests from people who don't send a note if I don't know them already. So, and indeed, when I connect with somebody, I will always send them a note. If you don't know that person, then wait a bit. But remember, you want to be generally pro networking. So let's say if the MD of a company that you wanted to talk to, a client company, wants to connect with you, but didn't send a note, you can check out their profile first, make sure it's a real profile. You can check that are they active on the site? Is it fully completed? Have they got lots of connections? Is it a proper profile? If it's somebody like what happens quite a lot is that there'll be a picture of somebody famous as the picture and no content, or it'll be like someone very attractive but there's no content there, and it's not probably, or someone that doesn't match, like someone who's young and very attractive but is the CEO of a big company, and it doesn't match. Generally, just follow your intuition. If you're suspicious, then just wait a bit and see what happens. So Bruno's asking, I have too many contacts and many are not relevant for my business. Should I clean my network? So again, you need to decide by yourself. Generally, I think it's good to have a big network. For you guys as event pros, you do need to go through and be careful, because you might have competitors or people who manage to sneak in somehow as your connection that you don't want to be in your network. So you've got to be careful about that. If you work in manufacturing, then it's very important that you don't have your factories on your LinkedIn, because basically what will happen is that your client will go direct to the factory thinking they can do it themselves. Of course they can't, and that's what they employ you for. But it's going to take them 2 years before they find out that painful lesson. And the chances of them coming back later after they've stuffed it up is not that high. So there are certain cases like that. Certain industries like photographers, you might not want to connect to your competitors, to other photographers, for example, or if it's a competing industry. So you need to decide by yourself. It's not a bad idea to go through periodically. Depends how much time you have. If you have time to do that, then it's great. For someone like me, generally, I don't need to worry about too much. Basically, pretty much anyone can be a potential client for me, or they'll know somebody who is a potential client for me, because that's the thing as well. Some of those people, they might be not directly relevant, but they might be able to refer you to somebody who is very relevant. So, again, we're trying to be generally pro networking. Right, so some other questions here. Let's have a look. Okay, so that seems to be all the questions at the moment. I can't see any more. If anyone has any questions, last chance. Oh, hold on, there's one. No more questions. Okay. Right, so in that case, we're going to wrap up for today. Please remember to connect with me on LinkedIn. And I put the links to all of my social media channels there. Please follow me there. Also, don't forget to follow the Mise Macau Facebook page, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is webinar number 4. There are 3 other webinars on different topics, event-related topics on their YouTube channel, which are really good. So please make sure that you spend some time to take a look at those. Also, one extra thing is, if you like the YouTube videos, please make sure that you like and comment on them. When you comment on the YouTube video, it really helps to spread the word out so that the maximum amount of people can get the benefit from these free webinars. So please help us out and do that. So, hold on, there's somebody. Right, yeah, so there you go. And also, don't forget to follow the Mise Macau LinkedIn company page. We will be sharing, this video will be getting sent out to attendees later on. For those who are unable to make it today, and hopefully we're going to be doing some more in the future. So that's it for me today. If you'd like to join my webinar tomorrow, then you're very welcome to do so. I'll put the link in the chat. Otherwise, please contact me, and basically I will send you the link for that. Anyway, thank you for attending, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you guys for joining us.